Hello everyone, and thank you very much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and this is another episode in a self-hosting lab series. In this episode, I will show you how you can self-host ProjectSEND. ProjectSEND is a free, secure, and user-friendly file sharing software. In other words, what the ProjectSEND will allow you to do is you will run a service called ProjectSEND that will allow you to accept and share files with the customers and accept files uploads from the customers. Let's say, for example, you have your own small business and you need to share certain documents with your staff, or you need to share certain documents with a group or specific group of your staff. ProjectSEND will allow you to do that. ProjectSEND will allow you to share files not only directly to the end user, but to a group of users. So you can group the users into a specific category, specific groups, and you just share the document to the groups. Another way how I would visualize this to be used is, for example, with my son's school. He's 5-year-old and he's going to year 1 class. So when the teacher needs to share something with our class or with us, with parents, he would be able to have a ProjectSEND self-hosted somewhere on the school premises, and then he just uploads certain document that every single parent needs to know, and he just shares that with the year 1 group, which we all part of the year 1 group. So we will create this as a Docker container, and I will run this using a container inside my demo Docker VM. We will use Linux server.io provided Docker Compose file to self-host ProjectSEND. So we're going to use this. And one thing that is missing from this Docker Compose file is database. So we're going to use Linux server, again, Linux server.io, provided Docker Compose file to self-host MariaDB. And we will combine these two Docker Compose files into one. Instead of running one separate one and then another, we're just going to combine both of them into one single Docker Compose file, and we're going to run these both containers at the same time. So let's go and start setting this up. First, we will go into a ProjectSEND Linux server.io page, and I'm just going to click on this icon here to copy entire Docker Compose file. Click inside a container, and I will create under stacks. I will click a button, add stack. So we'll name this ProjectSEND-YT, and in this text editor box I will paste the Docker Compose file. So right now this is a Docker Compose file to run only ProjectSEND, but we need to have MariaDB as well. So we will go into MariaDB Linux server.io page. We will copy this, go back into a container, and we will just paste that in. Couple of things we need to amend right now before we carry on everything is that currently we're specifying services twice, and this is not how it's supposed to be. And as you can see, Portainer complaining about YAML file syntax. So what we need to do, we need to delete the second services line, and right now, as you can see, the red line disappeared. So right now I'll go over this Docker Compose file, which combines ProjectSEND and MariaDB, and I'll explain to you what each of the line will do, and then we will need to create a couple of folders for everything to work. First of all, we will create services, and the first service will be named ProjectSEND. We're going to use the Linux server.io official Docker image, and we're going to use the latest version. Container name will be ProjectSEND, and like I always do, I like to capitalize the names to stand out a bit. We're going to use user ID 1000 and project in group ID 1000. So PUID and PGID set to 1000. DZ is time zone. So change to a time zone that is for your region. In my case, it's going to be Europe/London. Max upload is 5000, which limits to a 5 megabytes of upload. I leave that by default. Next thing, we need to set up where the files will be located and everything. So first thing, we need to create the config location where ProjectSEND will store its config files. I will open SSH client, and I'm already connected into my Docker Sandbox virtual machine, and currently inside Docker folder there is only one folder, Portainer, which is we're using right now to run it. So I will create a next folder called ProjectSEND and change directory to ProjectSEND. So right now inside ProjectSEND is nothing in there, the directory is empty. First thing I will create is config, and next folder I will create is data. So I have two directories created, config and data. can minimize this, and I can go in here and start typing the path to that location. So in my case, it's going to be home, Mr. P, Docker, project send. I can delete everything and just leave /config. And then I can actually copy all that because I'm a bit lazy. I don't want to retype everything. Delete all that and paste that in. So right now, as you can see, I changed the path on the host side to be this. So config files from a container will be stored inside home, Mr. P, Docker, project send, config, and a data will be stored inside all that /data. Ports 8080. If you have other containers running inside your container or inside this VM via Portainer or any other Docker container management system, and the port 80 on the left side is already being used, you need to change that to something else. You can change that, for example, 1180. As this is the only one container that will run, I'll leave port 80 as it's just one first container that is running inside this VM. Restart unless stopped. That means the Docker container will restart this container, or Docker engine will restart this container if you restart this virtual machine. So, or unless you stop it manually, then it will not restart. Next service. So we just finished talking about ProjectSend service. Next service is going to be MariaDB. We're going to use official linuxserver.io MariaDB Docker image, latest version. We will name this capital M MariaDB like that. Next, environments, again, PUID and PGID 1000, and time zone needs to be changed to a current location. So in my case, it's going to be London. Next, we need to set up the MySQL root password. So I will create something here. For this demo, I'm just going to call it root pass. Obviously, for your setup, especially if you're setting up this in a production environment where real data will be moved around, or you're just playing around, I should recommend to create a more secure password for root than just root password. MySQL database username, I'm just going to delete that and I'll write user. This is a database name, so it's going to be a ProjectSend. Next thing, MySQL user. This is where you assign the username. In my case, I'm just going to type it user. And the MySQL password, I'm just going to write user pass. Obviously, like same with the root password, if you're running this in a production environment with the real data, you're utilizing this service, sending and receiving the actual proper documents, not you just playing around, this needs to be a more secure password. And for this, where if remote SQL, if you use something like that, you can link it to remote SQL. I will not in this video. So I'm just going to put the hashtag, and this basically comments out this line as is no longer, it will be skipped while running a container. Then we need to specify where MariaDB will store its config files. I will go back into SSH client, and while I'm still inside the ProjectSend folder directory, I'll name this MariaDB. Enter. And then what we're going to do, we will just select all that and type home, Mr. P, Docker, ProjectSend, MariaDB, and I can actually delete this like that. So I'm specifying that the MariaDB config directory content will be mapped to the host side, which in this directory, which is home, Mr. P, Docker, ProjectSend, and then MariaDB. MariaDB by default uses port 3306. If you have any other Docker containers that hosting any kind of MySQL databases and 3306 port is already used, you need to change that to something else. As this is the first time, there is no containers user that is utilizing 3306. I leave this as it is. But if you, like I said, if you have something that already took 3306 port and is being utilized, you need to change to something else. And here, restart unless stopped is the same thing what was with the ProjectSend. The Docker engine will try to keep the MariaDB container running if you restart virtual machine where you're hosting your Docker containers, unless you as an admin stop this container. So quick check if everything is okay, ProjectSend, etc., etc., everything is okay. Right, let's go all the way down on this page and click deploy the stack. So right now, Docker checks if these two images exist already in the system. If it's not, behind the scenes, Docker engine will download both Docker images for ProjectSend and MariaDB, and then when everything is done loaded and extracted, Docker Engine will try to deploy these two containers. So I will leave this running for a couple of seconds or so, and I'll be back when everything is running. And here we go, stack deployment finished, and I can see this showing up in the stacks list. If I'm going to click on this name, I will be presented with a list of all the containers that belongs to this container stack. I can see MariaDB is running and ProjectSend is running. I can double check if everything is okay by clicking on this first icon here under Quick Actions. If I click on this, I will see the output of the MariaDB Docker container, and I can see that everything is okay, a lot of success and completed and etc. and initialization done. So MariaDB is running. We go back to stacks, click ProjectSend, and check ProjectSend Docker container image. As you can see, everything is okay. New container detecting, setting up, and everything, and initialization is done. So right now I can access the service by typing the IP address of my Docker VM, or if I set up the environment correctly inside a container, which will be under environments, Docker Sandbox, I do have my IP address entered here to access this, which allows me to just go onto containers list, look for ProjectSend, and just click on this number here, which will automatically open up ProjectSend setup page. So first of all, we need to quickly set up how we are connecting ProjectSend to the database. Are we doing via MySQL MariaDB or MS SQL? We chose MariaDB, so we'll leave this selected. And next we need to specify the host. Because we're running both containers using the same stack, I can go back inside a container, go inside the stacks, select the stack that we run using to set up ProjectSend and MySQL DB, and you can look into your service names. As you can see, this is the MariaDB service name. So instead of using localhost, I can just write MariaDB. Next, database name we created as a ProjectSend. So I'm going to leave this as it is. Username we chose to be user, and a password. I do believe it was user pass. We can leave table prefix tbl underscore as it's okay. Next, we can choose the language, and we can choose the default maximum upload file size. By default, this is giving you 1 GB. You can increase that to 2, 3, 10 GB or so. For this video, I'm going to leave this as a 1 GB in size. It checks that all the directory and access to the config files are writable, so it gives you a green line here. And rest of them we can leave by default. If I click on this, do not allow, as you can see, a lot of text shows up. One thing, please note that if you will create an error in any of these files, so for example, instead of user, I will type user123 and I will run a check. As you can see, it's actually telling me that it's failed, but it's not showing me at which line it's failed. It could be this, 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 or this. So out of 4 of them, if one of them is incorrect, or can be 2 incorrect, or 3, or all of them. So just when you're entering this data, make sure that all these fields are filled correctly, matching your Docker Compose file setup, specifically these lines, these 4 lines. So we'll go back inside the ProjectSend. I'll click on the button check again. All the lines, all the ticks are green. I can go all the way down and click write config file. And that's it. So this is done. Next, I can provide the site name. Let's name this the Mr. P Vault ProjectSend URI. So this is already pre-filled depending on what your Docker VM IP address is. Later, you can change this to a domain if you're planning to expose this service via some sort of a proxy or domain or Cloudflare tunnel, etc. There's a lot of ways you can expose this service to the internet. Next, full name for the administrator. I can type the Mr. P. Add email address, you can specify the real one. There is an option for you to set up to send emails from this system. This is going to be outside the scope of this video, but you can set up something like SMTP and notify users when the file is ready. For this purpose, for this demo, I'm just going to type a standard a@a.com. Username to log into the system, I'm going to choose Mr. P. And a password, you need to be 5 characters or more, so I'm going to choose the Mr. P. And a password, I'm going to choose something like this. Actually, let's make it more easier, which is going to be 123QWE. Everything looks okay. Install. When everything is installed, you will receive a congratulations message. I can click login. And now I can use the user, which was Mr. P, Mr. P, enter the password, click login. And here we are. I am logged in inside the ProjectSEND dashboard. We can dismiss this message. Click on the line says dismiss the message, and that's it. We are inside this system. A couple of things I want to show you what you can create here. This thing, you can go inside the clients, add a new client. So for example, you have a client, like you are a freelancer and you want to receive or send data to end user. Or for example, like in the beginning of this video, I mentioned about my kid's school. If a teacher would like to share the files with all the kids' parents about some upcoming event for the school or my kids' grades and etc. So let's start creating the first client. Let's name this test user. Username will be test user. Password will be something simple. Email must be valid and unique. So I'm going to put a1@a.com. You can fill the address, telephone number, and etc. Maximum upload size. You can specify how big the files can be uploaded by this user, and etc. So I'm going to say, set 0 to user default, which is 1 GB. And then notify new uploads by email. This is where if you would set up SMTP, the end user will receive notification, send a welcome email, require password change after first login. I don't need that. And we're going to deselect all this. Can set on file as a public. No, this is basically if the end user uploads a file, they can set up this file to be public. So the user will be able to share the link with anybody. And your ProjectSEND self-hosting service technically becomes almost like a public paste bin, where users can exchange files via your server. Add the client. So test user has been created. If I'll click right now on manage clients, this is where the list of all the users that you create will show up. Client groups, where you can create a group. So let's say I will create a new group. Group name will be IT Tech Support, as for example. Description, SSH keys. Why not? You're just going to send SSH keys. The members of this group, if you start typing the names, it will auto pre-fill. So in this case, there's only one exists. So I'm going to select that. Allow clients to request access to this group in the registration process and then editing. So you can allow, provide the option for user to request to join this group. Yes or no. I'm just going to not select that. And I'll just going to click create group. So group has been created. And again, the same as with the clients. If I'll click on manage groups, I'll see a list of all the groups that are created. System users, this is where you can create additional users for the system. At the moment, it's only me as the system administrator, but you could create another user if you have let's say a business partner and you want them to manage the system. So we can set up the new user as a system admin, account manager, or uploader who just uploads information, uploads the data. So we know we will not create anything in here. Under templates, you can create a template. How do you want the uploaded data or specifically images to present themselves? So it can be like a list, gallery, or pinbox. Under options, if I click on the general options, this is where you can change the name of the website, change the actual time zone and a date format if you want. And another thing, what I would like you to see, they organize uploads in folders based on the year and month. This is where the data will show. If we go back inside SSH client and navigate into a folder called data, then ProjectSend. Currently, if I go on the files, is nothing here. But if we will upload the file and this option is selected, I will see 2024 and then current month is October. So it's going to be 2024 and the subdirectory will be October. File expire by default. There is an option for you to set up the files to be expired or not and at what date. If I select this, all the files will be expired by default. There's a bunch of other changes you can do for your system. If you will expose this service behind a proxy, behind the domain, this is where you need to change the address. The way that is going to happen, you will create the domain and then you activate, and one domain will be pointed to this service. On the first load, the website will look very, very broken. I recommend to, when you're setting up the domain, change this at the same time and save it. then the website will allow you to, or website will display to you properly. Otherwise, the layout will be all over the place. Customer download URI. So if you're setting up your website, well, if you uploaded files to be downloaded, you can set up something like domain.com/ some file / download. And as you can see here, it will provide you, for example, file alias. If you add this, so at the end it's going to add this. So you just enter here my downloads, for example. So the website will automatically generate something like this, which is going to be link equals like that. So it's just going to always end with the specific URL at the end. General options. Oh no, sorry, clients. This is where you can amend more clients. Client can register themselves, auto approve new accounts. I don't want to do that. There's another option that I can recommend you to turn off by default. Client can upload the files. So you just turn this off, and basically every single new client you will create will not have option to upload the files, but only download. But if you're planning to use a ProjectSEND to receive files from the clients, as example, you're a freelancer, work is editing videos or creating music or creating thumbnails, you want the client to send you some sort of the artwork, some sort of the files that you will use with your system, with that project. So you can allow the clients to upload the files, all the assets that you need for that project, so they will be able to upload this. Client can delete their own uploaded files. So if you select both of them, client can upload, client can delete, client can set the expiration, so they have full control of uploaded files. And this system, the ProjectSEND, contains a bunch of more settings you can do. One thing, branding, you can change this ProjectSEND. So if you will go to this website inside, let's say, incognito. So if I'll go into this by incognito mode, 168, this ProjectSEND icon logo can be changed using this option under options, branding, and upload your file here. This preview uses a maximum width of 300 pixels, so you can upload and show your setup. And there is a bunch of more settings showing up here. So right now we have one client created. So if I go to manage clients, I do see here this one showing up. And this is very useful because we have right now the incognito mode. So I can use here test user and log in as a test user. If I log in as a test user, just an end user with no privileges, I don't see options, anything from manage files. You have not uploaded any files, and I don't have option to upload. And view my files, currently nothing here. So we're just gonna right now minimize this, and we will go and upload the file into this. So I'm gonna upload the file. Let's go inside the file structure, and we will create a simple file that we will upload. So let's go into to documents. Let's open this inside the terminal, and I will create touch new file.txt. No new file.txt. Subscribe. Save. Close that. Yes, I do have a file. So I'll click under Files, Upload, Add a file, Documents, New File, Upload. And the file has been right now set into upload queue. If I'll click the button Upload File, the file will be uploaded, and now I can choose a bit more information about this file. I can set up expiration date. So for example, if I'll set up this date to be tomorrow, as soon as calendar date matches my selection, so right now today is 12th, if I'll set up 13th, tomorrow or based tonight at midnight, this file will become expired. So file expires, so in like almost 12 hours or less, this file will be expired. Let's choose it a bit further down. Public download, allow public downloading of this file. You can then, you upload the file, you copy the links, but especially if you're exposing the service to internet, you copy the link and you can send this link to via email, WhatsApp, text message, post it on Reddit. People will be able to download whatever you're sharing. Custom download, this is where I mentioned to you that you can have a custom link at the end if you want to add. Who has access to this file? From a clients list, I will create a select test user, or I can go and select straight away just a group without selecting the user, and everybody inside this group will be able to access this. I can assign a categories to this file. Let's say you're uploading the certificates, you're uploading the just a normal application forms and etc. You can categorize them and then assign to the categories. And location, where this file will be located. Currently we have no folders created, so it just will be uploaded inside the root. So everything is pre-filled. I'm just gonna go and press save. File has been uploaded. So right now under files, manage files, I will be able to see that file being uploaded, is size, who uploaded, assigned, and all the other information here. Now I can go into the incognito mode. And if I click on the view my files, I do have this user, the test user, has access to that file. It shows when it's going to be expired. It's option to download. And if I click on this, it will download automatically as it is TXT file. But if you're uploading PDFs or images and your browser allows, you will be able to view those files inside the browser. So right now, this is what it is. Couple of things just to mention about files uploads while we're doing this. If you go inside uploads, you go to manage files, there's an option for you to start creating the folders. So inside the new folder, if I click a button new folder, I will say this will show me docs as an example. I can drag this file and I say it right now belongs inside docs. If I click inside docs, it tells me that my breadcrumb location is a file's root docs. So right now this file has been uploaded inside the docs directory, inside the docs folder. And because I uploaded that, the end user or the test user don't have any more access to this file. So if I go back here and I will upload this back inside the root and go inside my test user and refresh, gets access to the file back. So this is one thing just to note, that if you start to categorizing or uploading files and files into different folders, you need to set up the permissions to the users correctly, otherwise they will lose access to the to this option. One thing I can do, if I go back here under clients, manage the clients, click on the option, I will go and select that can to notify. No, we need to go inside the options for clients, and clients can upload the file. I will select this, save it, go into the page where I'm logged in as a test user, and now the upload file from the end user, or process to upload the file from end user, is pretty much exactly the same as from the admin. So you just click the button, upload the file, select the file you want to upload the file. Files be uploaded, but as you can see, there is less options for end user to configure. They don't have option to make it expire or anything at this moment, as I have deselected those options in an admin panel. So that's all they can do is make a title, description, and select where it's going to be uploaded. Let's say I want to upload inside the docs. I'll press save. And another thing sometimes happens with upload is it will give you this error. So what technically happens is actually uploads the file but loses a connection to the system. This is sometimes happens on my production environment as well. That is 1 out of 10 times it happens, maybe sometimes twice out of 10. As you can see right now is both files uploaded, both the same name, but they're located completely in a different place on the admin side. But as I look from the user side, and user side is pretty much, it shows me all the files inside of one page. And that's it. This is the ProjectSEND self-hosted service that allows you to share files with the clients. Oh yeah, and by the way, dashboard will show you all the actions that happens inside your ProjectSEND self-hosted environment, how many is uploaded, downloaded in the past 15, 30, or 60 days, and information of how many files been uploaded, downloaded, and amount of people are logged in or been using your system. So that's it. This is the ProjectSEND, the free, secure, and very easy to set up file sharing service. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is quite useful, or will be quite useful, if you want to share this with a small team, or you have some sort of a certificate you need to share with the team, or you have a 10-15 your staff members, a fleet of meeting customers and providing the service. You can send the one document, upload one document into this, and everybody can access, download, and basically fill the forms and etc. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, And like always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.